Hello and welcome to Dude's Comic Book Goodness. I'm Jason and this is my weekly video where I review the books that I picked up this week. Before we get into this week though, I just want to apologise for the picture quality. I've been waiting all day to do this video, but it's been a miserable day here in the UK. We've had nothing but rain and darkness, and I was hoping that there was going to be a break in the rain and maybe some sun would come through. Didn't happen. So we're now early evening and I think this is as good as it's going to get over the weekend, so I'm going to do the video now, but it means the picture quality is not going to be the greatest and I apologise for that. However, this week was a massive haul, 15 books, so we're going to do it a bit different this week. 9 of those books are new books, so they will be reviewed as normal. 6 of the books are books that were released last week or earlier, so we're going to do those in a new section we're going to call Comic Book Roundup. So the older books, they'll be grouped into that. When I do pick up back issues and stuff, they'll be grouped in there and just give you my basic opinion on the book, but real quick kind of opinions, and we'll group them all together in the hope that it will condense this video a bit more and not make it so long. So without further ado, let's get to Comic Book Roundup. Hello and welcome to Dude's Comic Book Roundup, and this is basically the books that the back issues I picked up this week. Books that were either like from last week or before. Basically, they're not like back issues and going back years. First up, we have Justice League 3000 issue number 1. When this first came out, or was first announced, I kind of rolled my eyes and was like, oh, this is what we need, DC, another Justice League book. But when I heard iFanboy talking about this on the podcast, I was like, that actually sounds quite an interesting idea. What the premise is, it's the future, the 31st century, we've left Earth, we're living on all these other planets now, think life is good, we've eradicated poverty, we've eradicated disease, it's pretty an idyllic time to live. But then scientists unleash these 5 things by accident, and they change things, they enslave the people, they kill a lot of people, and things are pretty bad now. So these scientists called the Wonder Twins, they bring back the Justice League, they clone them. But unfortunately, the cloning process doesn't work very well, and they don't have all their memories and they don't have all their powers. So you've got like a Superman who isn't grounded by his Kents, he doesn't remember the Kents, so he's a bit of a dick. But at the same time, he thinks he can fly because he has his memories that he can fly, but he can't. So he keeps go to jump off buildings and crashing. And all the characters are like this. They're kind of broken in some way, but at the same time it gives them unique characteristics that they feel like they're different characters. They're not who they're cloned from. They do feel slightly different, and that really works really well. There's quite some funny moments in here. Keeps it quite light for a DC book, and I enjoyed the first issue. It lays the groundwork of what this world is and who the people are in it, and I give Justice League 3000 issue number 1 4 stars. Good start. Next up we have Justice League 3000 issue number 2, which I really enjoyed. This was fantastic. They really amp it up this issue. Last issue we kind of laid the groundwork. This issue we start building the house. They go to this planet, take out some soldiers, and they encounter this character called Locus who can change reality. And things take a pretty bad turn from there. Really good book. There's some really funny moments, some really lighter moments sprinkled throughout the book, which is quite unusual for a DC book. But the action as well and the power are really amped up, and I just really enjoyed this one. And I give Justice League 3000 issue number 2 5 stars. Next we have all new Invaders issue number 1. I really like James Robinson's writing, and I know these characters individually, but I didn't know much about the Invaders, so I was going to give this one a miss. I then saw Gambit 896, his review, and his review was awesome. He did a fantastic job of selling this book. Marvel should give him a percentage because he was blooming brilliant. It was a review that really, it didn't spoil the book, but at the same time it let you see what the art was like, it get you know the story and the gist of the story, and it really sold it to me, so I picked it up and I'm glad I did. It's a really good book. The art in here by Steve Pugh, I know him from Animal Man, but his art was nothing like this. This is a totally different Steve Pugh, top of his game. Guru effects is brilliant on the colouring. There's the one scene when Human Torch lights up, that is just gorgeous. And the writing by Robertson is brilliant. I love the fact that we use Jim Hammond as our character, the Human Torch as our character. He's the one I know least about, and I love how they use him to kind of introduce the story and why the team are coming back together. I thought that was nice, and I really like the character because he's trying to find his place in the world. He doesn't quite know what he is, and he's trying to find out where he fits in, and I think that's going to make him a very interesting character. And from this first issue, I was really super intrigued. I want to see where this is going to go, and I give All New Invaders issue number 1 5 stars. Next up, 3 books that were supposed to have come out last week, but there was some kind of cock up with Diamond and they didn't deliver them, so my comic book shop got them in this week instead. We start out Captain America issue number 16. Oh no, sorry, 15. I'm one ahead of myself. Captain America 15. I really enjoyed this issue. We're kind of, the villain now is kind of has more of a political kind of feel. As our villain, the Iron Nail, who kind of wants to take out America, as he sees America as this great evil that, you know, arrogantly enforce their opinion and their will and their ways on the world. And he sees the Shield as their secret police to enforce this America's agenda. So he's looking to take down America, take down the 1%. And like, there's a lot of things politically that this character says that you kind of can't help but agree with, but then you can't condone his methods that he uses to get his viewpoint across. And I always find characters, particularly villains, that have the belief that they're right to be much more interesting villains, because if they have the belief that they're right, how can anything they do be wrong, because they're right. So I like this character. This issue they made Nuke also a really interesting character, and I love the work they did on Nuke. The whole issue feels like it's building, and then we get the big crescendo at the end as things crash down. And yeah, this was really good issue. Really loving what Remender's doing on the book, and I give Captain America issue number 15 5 stars. Next up we have Avengers issue number 25. This issue we're dealing with the scientists' AIM, and they have managed to create a portal that can go to these different realities before they die, so they can take stuff from these worlds. But the first one they open up, they bring through the Avengers, but they're not quite the Avengers they know. The gist we get is that these are going to be evil Avengers. There's a lot of breadcrumbs kind of left there that we're going to come back to hopefully next issue. But the kind of overriding feeling is like, oh well, DC are already doing this. They've got their evil Justice League and the Crime Syndicate, so like, this is just like, why are Marvel doing this now? And you know, I can only think that they've had this in the pipeline for some time, and they've pulled the trigger on it now, and it's just the timing of the whole thing that DC were doing it at the same time. But it does kind of lessen the impact of having these older Avengers. Me, I'm a total sucker for these kind of stories from alternate realities and alternate Earths. So yeah, I blooming loved it. It was a good issue. I didn't like kind of like Maria Hill at the end. I'm like, are you serious, girl? Are you serious? Is that where you're going with this? You can't tell that these aren't the regular Avengers. So yeah, there was a couple of things that griped me, but overall I did like the story, and it had a lot of intriguing things in it, and I give Avengers issue number 25 4 stars. And finally, in comic book roundup, we have Avengers World, issue number 2. And this issue kind of pretty much deals with Smasher. She's been captured by the aforementioned AIM, who seem to be getting everywhere these days. Since they got their own island, they've become ever so popular in the books, because they're popping up all over the place. But anywho, Smasher, yeah, we get a lot, but interspersed amongst the issue, as well as telling the main story, we get these nice little glimpses. I really like learning more about Smasher. She's one of the new Avengers that I know least about, so I was really pleased to learn a bit more about her past in this one and her relationship with her grandfather. I'm not quite sure whether the head guy on AIM Island is under the spell as well, but by the end of this issue, things are looking pretty bad. But yeah, this was another fun issue. Didn't blow me away. Was what I was expecting the main Avengers book to be. But yeah, it was another fun issue, and I gave Avengers World issue number 2 4 stars. So that's the roundup done. Let's get to those reviews. So first up this week we have The Flash issue number 27. This was a really good book. We have Brian Buccellato back, who has been co-writing this since issue 1, and he's back for a few issues before we get the new creative team in April. This kicks off the first of his little kind of mini arc. Again, what I liked is that we get to see the detective. We get to see that it's not the powers that make the hero, it's the man that makes the hero. And Barry Allen is once again investigating something, and he thinks he may have found his mom's killer. But you get the sense all through the book, for whatever reason, people are hiding something from Barry. And that just makes Barry even more determined to go down the road that he's going. It's going to be interesting to see it all tied together and what these characters are hiding from him. But the story was really good. It felt like very much like a throwback kind of story to a different era, different age, and I really liked that we didn't get to see much of him as the Flash. He does a lot of investigating in this issue as Barry Allen, though we're still getting to see him as the Flash as well. I really enjoyed this one. If you're thinking of jumping on the book, this is a nice place to start, as it, not only will it kind of give you a feel for what the character is and who he is, but also it's the start of a new story, and also it'll give you a bit of a gist of maybe what Brian Buccellato and Francis Manapul are going to bring to the detective comics. Because this very much has been a book where Barry has used his detective skills many times to kind of help him solve cases and bring in bad guys. But yeah, this was another fun issue. Art, it wasn't Manapul, but it was still good, and it definitely left me intrigued of what's going down, and I give The Flash issue number 27 5 stars. So next up on our reviews is Batman and Robin Annual issue number 2. I hated this book because it reminded me how much I missed Damien, but I loved this book because it reminded me how much I missed Damien, if that makes any sense. What we get here is a tale, one of the first missions that Robin went out with Batman on, the original Robin, that is Dick Grayson. And the thing that really struck me about the issue was that it really made me hungry for tales of the early days of Batman and Robin, and I really feel that DC doing the whole New 52, that they really missed out on doing a lot of good stuff if they'd have just started it from day one, rather than saying we've had these 5 years and now there's all these heroes in the world. I think it would have been much better, and that was more what I was expecting, and I think it would have been cool if they'd have done it that way. The tale is like really at the end we have a fantastic moment which Tomasi does so well, these heart-wrenching moments that of real emotion, and that's come out, the issue builds to and gets there, and you don't see it coming, and it just hits your heart and you're like, oh. But yeah, another really strong issue, and I give Batman and Robin Annual issue number 2 a definite massive 5 stars. So next we have The Saviours issue number 2 by James Robertson, who a writer I really like, and the first issue really set this book up well. This issue, what they do really well is the first 9 pages are pretty much no dialogue, but then they make up for it. There's a lot of dialogue after that, and maybe too much, but those first 9 pages, really great art by J Bone, as he has to tell the story with expression and with no words and with action, but it works in a part where you wouldn't really have much speaking anyway. We don't really get that much answers in this one. Thomas just wants to go back to his life of pumping gas and smoking pot, but he can't, so he has to go to Mexico instead. But yeah, I enjoyed this one. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the first. But I'm still intrigued with where this is going to go, and I give The Saviours issue number 2 4 stars. Next we have Black Science issue number 3 from Rick Remender, with Matteo Scalera on art and Dean White on colours. Really enjoyed this book. Every issue kind of makes you reevaluate the characters. Like the first issue, we thought Grant was going to be our hero, and like this issue kind of really tosses that around as he's not. He's, you know, all the characters seem to have a shade of grey about them. That none of them are kind of squeaky clean all the way through. And even the guy who's been set up a bit as like the douche of the group, the bit of the villain. And while we see his villainous ways, he's also at times can be quite heroic. So yeah, I like that the character. It adds a bit more depth to the characters, having that shade of grey to them all. The artwork once again is extraordinary. Really love how this book is drawn, and the story just keeps moving. And while on one hand you could say not much happens in the present day, it's those flashbacks to the past that really add to the story and add to the characters and their histories and their relationships with each other. And I'm just really loving this book, and I give Black Science issue number 3 5 stars. So next up we have Uncanny Avengers issue number 16. Really enjoyed this book. This was a really great book. If I still did pick of the weeks, this would be my pick of the week this week. It was brilliant. I know a lot of people were put off because the first couple of issues were quite weak, and there was like, I think there was a delay after issue 2 or 3 where it didn't come out for a few months. But since issue 4, this book has really picked up and has really become consistently strong. This issue, we're getting to the end of our like common story arc. They go up against the Apocalypse Twins. Out of the Avengers, there's only Captain America, Thor, and Wasp left. The others are dead. Wasp is trying to take down this tachyon thing that's stopping people from time traveling, so that Immortus can come through and help them defeat the Apocalypse Twins. Meanwhile, that means Cap and Thor have to go toe to toe with the Apocalypse Twins. There's some fantastic moments in this book. Thor is at his badass best. The art by Stephen McNiven is really good. I still miss Daniel Acuna on art, but Steve McNiven does a great job, not taking nothing away from him. It's just more of a personal preference. I would have liked to have seen Acuna finish the arc and then bring the new artist in. But this book is just bloody brilliant. Really enjoyed it. Looking forward to seeing where it's going to go. And I give issue number 16 of Uncanny Avengers a definite 5 stars. Next up we have Clone issue number 14, and this was just another brilliant issue. This is one of those books that is way under the radar. It is just an awesome book. Every month out, it never lets you down. It's always great. This issue we find out that there are more clones out there, that there's these female clones, as they save our main character Luke. Luke and Eric have a fight that's been building for a few issues, because Eric is the tattooed clone and he's in love with Luke's wife. So they come to blows, and that's really cool. It builds up some real suspense with what way will Luke's wife go. There's a great dramatic moment and a great reveal near the end. Couple of great reveals near the end that just have me waiting with bated breath to see the next issue of this book and where it's going to go. There's a nice little kind of essay kind of thing in the back with the one writer, Ginsberg, talking about how they come from TV and their slightly different approach to writing comics, which was really interesting. But all in all, this book has just been fantastic. If you're not reading it, pick up the first 2 trades. It is awesome. It's so consistent. They cram so much into every issue. It's just a thrill ride, and I give Clone issue number 14 5 stars. So next up we have Justice League Dark issue number 27. This continues the Forever Evil Blight storyline. Once again, I've got to say the artwork of Mikhail Yanin is just awesome. I don't know how well you can see this with the lighting in here, but there's just some fantastic artwork that he kind of envisages in here. I don't know how well you can sort of see as they're fighting Blight, but yeah, Mikhail Yanin once again exceptional on art. Really loving how DeMatteis is writing Constantine. That is brilliant. I love also the way that like you could just be picking up Justice League Dark, but you could still follow the story. The way it's written, it's not. You don't have to read all of it. If you're enjoying it, you get more from reading all of it. but I like that it leaves it in the customer's hand. Whether they want to buy the rest of the issues, they don't have to, but if you want to, it will enhance it. But if you don't want to, you could just read Justice League Dark and follow the story well enough. So I like that. I like how each issue as well relates to that comic's story, ongoing story, because a lot of times when you have crossover issues, they can disrupt the ongoing story. But what they've kind of done is kind of weaved the Blight storyline into all the different stories, so it doesn't detract from what's going on in that book regularly. Yeah, this is really good. One of the best crossover events that I've read, because like I say, it doesn't take away from the regular story of the book. The end of this, it looks like we're going in a new direction now that this part of the Blight storyline is over and we're moving on to the next stage. Really loving this. Justice League Dark for me remains one of, if not one of, it's the best team book out there, and I give issue number 27 5 stars. Next up we have Saga issue number 18. This is the last issue before they go off on a 2-month hiatus. Well, I don't know if it's 2 months because they come back in May. Is that 2 months? Anywho, they're going off on a break. This issue kind of wraps up the comic story. Does a really great job. There's some great moments in here. The showdown between Marco and Gwendolyn is just awesome. You can feel the tension, you know, when you come face to face with your ex. It's just awesome. There's a great moment with the ghost, I think it's Isabel, is it? And Lion Cat, who remains one of my favourite characters in this book. The end of the book, while it rounds out that story, it leaves a couple of threads that's going to be interesting for us to come back to when they come back, and builds nicely. Once again, Fiona Staples' art is superb. The amount of expression and emotion she gets into her characters is brilliant, and she makes Alana look the sexiest woman in comics. But yeah, I'm just loving this book, and I give Saga issue number 18 a definite 5 stars. And the final review this week is the Superior Spider-Man issue number 26. This one was a bit of a mixed bag for me. I never like it when we have a 3 artists on a book. I think you can get away with 2 if you use them right. But this issue had 3, and too many. I also felt that it was a bit anticlimactic, the ending to the whole showdown between the Avengers and Spider-Man. I thought that was a bit anticlimactic. I really did like the layouts when the Avengers show up, when Spider-Man's army are going to take out some bad guys, and I think it was AIM, they were AIM scientists, and I really liked the layout there of the Avengers kind of showing up. That was cool. I also really liked the showdown between the Goblins, and there was a nice twist at the end of that. I like the explanation of why Peter is still alive inside Doc's head, and has seen Ghost Peter get stronger, and where that's going. So there was some good stuff in there as well, probably more good than bad. But yeah, I enjoyed it still. Not the most essential issue, and you have kind of got one eye on the future rather than enjoying what we got here now. But yeah, it definitely feels like we're reaching the demise of Doc Ock. Really enjoying where we're going with the book, and I give Superior Spider-Man issue number 26. If I did 3.5s, it would be a 3.5, but because I don't do 0.5s, I'll give Superior Spider-Man number 26 4 stars. So, yeah, we have got through the roundup. We've survived the reviews. Here we are for the good stuff. There's going to be a short good stuff this week because I'm conscious of time. Just going to share with you a bit of a haul I had on eBay this week. I'm really getting into like the whole Mignola-verse, if you will, the whole BPRD and on Hell on Earth and Ape Sapien comics. So I've kind of been filling my gaps on them. So I've got some back issues of them to kind of catch up on. So I got issue number 3 there. I don't know whether you can see that. Issue number 3 of Ape Sapien. Love this cover, issue number 4 of Ape Sapien. So yeah, I really like that issue. Then we have issue number 5 of Ape Sapien, followed by issue number 6. Yes, you guessed it, issue number 7 of Ape Sapien. And we have another cover that I really like, number 8 of Ape Sapien. Then we jump over to BPRD Hell on Earth, and this is collecting the previous storyline. So we've got issue 110, which kicks this story off. We then have issue 111. I already had issue 112, so I didn't get that. So I got issue 113. That continues it on. And finally, issue 114. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to reading those over the weekend. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this week. Like I say, I'm not going to keep this too long because I'm conscious of time. It would take me just to welcome my new subscribers and thank you everybody who's subscribed to my videos and has been watching my videos. Yeah, that's pretty much all I want to say. Say a big thank you to everyone. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else. This is me drawing a blank. I've been Jason. This has been Dude's Comic Book Goodness. Bye for now.